For our session today, we're going to focus heavily on new analytics. So we'll take a look at what that tool is, walk through all the options that are available for you to pull different reports, to message students, and to get some insight into how your students are utilizing your courses and looking through your material. Then we'll take a look at a couple of different things that are attached to quizzes and where you can find that reporting and what some of those options look like. As we go through, if you have any questions, feel free to pop those into the chat. I'll make sure I pause throughout the session to take a look at that as well. So the first thing I want to talk about today is new analytics. So new analytics is a tool that is built into Canvas that allows you to get a deeper understanding of how students are engaging and progressing through your course content. So new analytics allows you to take a look at numerous different pieces of items in your course, such as assignments. You can take a look at pages and see if your students are looking at them, how much time students are spending on different materials in your course, and you can compare it in a number of different ways. And so here's a couple of different options or use cases for using new analytics. So if you wanted to view the average course grade, so if you want to see your overall kind of average course grade for your class, you could do that. If you have cross-listed sections where you have multiple sections being taught out of one course, you can also isolate it by section. You have the ability to compare the average on individual assignments, quizzes, or you can take a look at individual students to see how they're progressing. You can look at online weekly participation to see if students are looking at the resources that you're providing. And this would be more so outside of those graded activities, right? We can see if students contribute to discussions, if they turn in assignments or take quizzes, but we often have course content that's built in that we want them to review as well. We can also send messages to students based on specific criteria. So if you've seen the message students who option inside of the gradebook, this gives you even more flexibility, even more options to choose from to send targeted messages to your students. You also have the ability to download reports. So if you wanted to download a report to see all of the missing assignments, all the assignments that have been turned in late or anything you've excused, you can pull reports in that way as well. So I'm going to pause just to get a temperature check from the group. When you're looking at the data or analytics in your course, what exactly are you looking for? We obviously can use our gradebook to take a look at grades, but what is some other information that you'd be curious to know about how students are, interacting with or using the content in your course? And you can pop your answer in the chat. Okay, engagement with the materials. What pages are they accessing? The documents that you posted, last date of participation, number of page views, absolutely. Wonderful. So all about participation and engagement. And most of those things you will be able to pull reports or get information on. So I'm going to navigate into a demo course. Just a moment. And I'm going to show you how to look at new analytics, and we'll go through some kind of demo content as well. So the first thing about new analytics is that it does need to be visible inside of your course navigation. So if it's not visible, you'll need to go into settings, click on navigation, and new analytics should be down here if it's not visible in your course navigation, and you can either drag it up. So I'm going to do it with mine. So if it was here, I could drag it up to enable it, or you also have the ability to choose the three dots and click enabled to move it up here. Once it's up here at the top, meaning above this text here, you're going to scroll down and click save. And then you will be able to see that inside of your course navigation. So Since it's in your course navigation, it is something that will be visible to students, but similar to if you click on grades, how you go to the grade book, when students click on new analytics, they will only see their own individual results. So you don't have to worry about this showing everything that's happening in the class. It will only show how they're progressing. Some other things to yes, Alice, the recording of the session will be available for future review. If you're here, maybe you can give some guidance on where these recordings might be available. So now that I've clicked on new analytics, I'm going to land on this first page here. Now, some things to think about with new analytics. New analytics does take up to 24 hours to show the data. So it's not going to be real-time data. So that's something to keep in mind. It will tell you up here at the top left, when was the last time that this was refreshed. So keep in mind, if you're looking at something like, let's just say you want to see what your students did today on Friday, you could come back tomorrow on Saturday or Monday to see that information. So this first page here is going to be what's called the kind of the overall landing page. And up here, we'll see a couple different tabs. So the first one is course grade. And so the average course grade is basically the average of all the student totals from the grade book. And so here you'll see that I have a little graph. If I prefer, I can click these three dots and I can change this into a data table. And so what I'll see is I'll see the name of the assignment, the due date, as well as the average course grade for that particular assignment. If you had multiple sections of a course, you could click in this box here and choose that additional section, or you can even compare it by student, right? So if I wanted to see Alex, grade versus the rest of the class, I could do that here as well. What's great about all over new analytics is that you'll have the option to download what you're seeing displayed here as a CSV. And you'll see that there's different filters here that you can turn on or off to take a look at the different types of graded assignments inside of Canvas. You also will have this message student who box, which if you are familiar with it, is also in the gradebook. And so if you click on it here, on each of the different tabs as we go through, I'll show you the criterion. But you'll see that here I can send a message to students who have a specific score range. So if I wanted to send a message to students who are making less than who currently have less than 70% in my course, then I would just change this to 70. And it'll generate a list of students. And then you can send a message directly from this page to those students. If multiple students come up, they will all get their own individual copy of this message. So they won't know that you send it out to multiple students at once. And when they reply, only you and the student will be able to see that reply. So you can put in your message, your subject, as well as your message. This is going to go to the Canvas inbox for your students. But by default, the way we have our notification set up in Canvas, they will also get a copy of it in their email as well. And they can respond either from their email directly or come back into the Canvas inbox to respond. Other options you have is you can send a message to students who are missing items or who have assignments that are late. Now, in this view here, these two are not going to give you specifics about what assignments are missing or what assignments are late. I will show you a report a little bit later in the session that will give you that specific information. So this would be just kind of a generic message to let students know, hey, you're missing a couple things. Please take a look at your grades page or reach out to me for more information about what assignments or discussions or quizzes that you're missing. Same with late. So I'm going to pause just to see, are there any questions about this initial page here where it says course grade, or about the view or downloading or using anything on this page? Or I'm sorry, in this course grade tab. All right, awesome. The next tab we're going to take a look at is called Weekly Online Activity. And so this shows you basically what you all were asking about, participation, engagement, if students are reviewing documents. So this is going to show you a list of all of the page views and participations that have happened that week. So the difference between a page view and a participation, page view would be a student viewing your home page or viewing a content page. There's no action item for them to do. If it's a participation, that means the student must have done something. So they needed to respond or contribute to a discussion post, submit a quiz, submit an assignment. Those would fall under that participation category. And so here you'll see the similar view where we have these items here. I already have it as a table, but I'll uncheck it so you can see what it looks like with the graph at the top and then the table at the bottom. So you'll get to see what the resource is. So basically what that content item is in your course. And then you can see how many students viewed it, as well as if there was an assignment or something for them to do, the number of participations. Now this one is just going to be kind of an overview. But if you wanted to get a little bit more granular, then you can absolutely do it by student to see specifics of how a specific student interacted with your course content. And if we go back to data table, you also have the ability, if you click on the kind of hyperlink up here where it shows you the breakdown of the page views, it'll open up on the left hand, or I'm sorry, on the right hand side and show you exactly more information about what students have taken a look at. Okay. And of course, you can download this, or if you saw that, you also have the ability to download this information as well. So it'll be broken up in kind of a week, about a week chunk. Yeah, these are all different weeks. Okay. Here, if we click message students who, there's going to be a different set of criteria. So we can see a list of students who have viewed. Okay, and you can select a specific resource. So if you have a specific page or a document that you want to see if students either viewed or did not view, you'll choose that from this list and it'll automatically populate a list of students. So this is going to be viewed, didn't view, and same with participated and didn't participate. And so this would be more so, did they submit the assignment, quiz, or contribute to the discussion or not? So you can choose, from these different resources. Now, if you click and you don't choose a resource, this won't give you the specifics of what students did or did not view or participate with. So you'll want this to be as specific as possible. And again, you'll be able to send a message to the students. It'll be individual for all of them and they won't know who sent it. So this is actually one of my kind of favorite tools within New Analytics. Any questions about viewing any of that online weekly activity or any thoughts about that? And I also want to note that here on participation and page views, it also is pulling in if they've used the mobile app, the Canvas mobile app as well. So this is comprehensive of desktop as well as mobile.
Carla?
Go ahead.
So under the resources, it only it does show both the integrated tools as well as the Canvas tools, right?
It will only be the Canvas tools. We can't really track what happens outside of Canvas. So it would only be Canvas core items like assignments, pages,
like
modules, discussions. Yeah. If it's an external tool where it sends them outside of Canvas, Canvas is unable to track that.
Okay, because I saw Google assignments. I was like, does it check
so this was the name. This is actually an assignment in Canvas that's named Google assignment because it's using the connection. So if there's an external tool assignment that you have, it will track to see if they've turned it in. But if there's a link that sends them outside of your Canvas course, like a link to an article or something like that, then you wouldn't be able to see that.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. So basically, students' activities can be seen through the through the
Correct.
resources and the new analytics. Sounds good. Thanks.
Mhm. Awesome. And then Gail, I see your question. Yes, you can change it from the view of all of these from ascending to descending order. So if you wanted to change it to see what things are least viewed, and you absolutely can do that. Is it possible to narrow down the page views if I can see students view the syllabus names? Oh, from this, are you looking for Alice? Are you looking for just like specific, like a specific resource?
Yes, I think after I asked that question, it occurred to me, you have it listed, looks like in your page, those are separate documents or modules. Is that right?
Yeah, those are all separate items. So if you see the little icon here, if it's like the little paper with the pencils and assignment, if it's this right here, that's a collaboration. There are different, like this is a file, this is a discussion. So these little icons are different types of content in Canvas.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Any other questions? Awesome. And then again, so you can change this, in alphabetical order or ascending or descending order, but you can also download this as a CSV and search that way as well. So the next one is going to be students. And so this is going to give you more information for how individual students are doing. So the first thing you'll see is you'll see the list of students, you'll see their current grade in the course, the percentage of submissions that have been on time, their last participation. So the last time they've, turned something in essentially or contributed to a discussion is here, the last time they viewed a page. And then here you can see their overall page views as well as the number of participations. So this is a good way if you wanted to see, what does it look like for students who are doing really well in my class? How much time are they spending? How much is the percentage that items are on time? You can kind of get some of that information from here. And then if you want to dive deeper, you have the ability to do message students who as well. Again, you'll get that similar one that we saw in course grade where you can send it by their score or if they have missing or late items. You also can click on a student's name and get their own individual report. So this is going to be similar. This is going to be the view that students get when they click on new analytics. They will be able to see all these three things, and then they'll be able to see the assignment, the due date, if it was submitted, the status, and their particular grade. And they also have their own view of weekly online activity, so they can see exactly each week how much time they've spent either looking at lesson content or course content versus participating, which would be, the graded piece. And if you want it more granular, you can click on the week and it'll show you exactly what the resource was the students engaged with or took a look at and how many times did they view it. Okay, so that'll give students some ownership as well, so they can see, am I missing things or am I not looking at things or am I spending enough time really taking a look at the course content and resources that are provided versus just simply going, to submit assignments or projects. So other things that you can do is you can download this as well. So if you wanted to download it and get an export of this, you can do that. You can, if you wanted to just pull up a specific student, just search up here and that'll give you that option as well. And right now, this is in alphabetical order, but you have each of those columns, you have the ability to change the sort order to view it in any way that you would like to. Any questions about the students, this kind of students tab? All right, perfect. If anything pops in your mind and pop it in the chat. I think the last thing I want to show you is reports. Now you see this right here where it says new online attendance. This is just something in my demo environment. It's not turned on. I don't think it's turned on in your environment, but it's a brand new thing that they're still doing testing on. So just disregard that. I don't want to confuse you. But under here, under reports, We're going to take a look at the 4 or 5 reports that you can pull. And I really love these. I wish I had these much sooner when I was teaching because this would help. We all get emails from students, asking, what am I missing? Even though they can see it, it takes a lot of work to find it. This streamlines that process for you. So the reports that we have are the missing assignments, late assignments, excused assignments report. You also have the ability to pull in course roster as well as course activity. On this page, if you're curious about what this report looks like and what possibly will show up on the report, you can click the little I information icon. And then this will show you, give you an overview of exactly what this report will pull, as well as give you a sample of what information you can expect to be on there. So one thing I like to do is when you click Run Report, you have the ability to apply filters. So if I just run this report, it will just show me everything that's missing. I get a list of all of the different missing assignments in my course by, with the student's name next to it. But let's just say I only want to see a specific student, right? So I'll choose a student's name and maybe I'll do Annie. I only want to see the items that Annie are missing because she's reached out to me, she's been out, and she wants to know exactly what's missing and what she needs to make up. So this will allow me to generate a report specifically for the student with all of the items that are missing. And I can email that to them or have a discussion with that student about, okay, these are the things that need to be completed. Maybe these are things that I will excuse you from. It depends on your course. You also have the ability to pull it by assignment. If there's a specific assignment that you want to pull a list of students who have not turned it in, you can also do that here as well. And same with if you had sections, would be if you had multiple sections in one course, you could choose this and just pull a list for the specific section, that you would like to focus on. So that's one report. The next one is going to be the late assignments report. This is going to give you a report of all of the assignments that have been submitted late. Same type of filters. You'll be able to go in and pull it by student, by section name, or by assignment to generate a report. They'll let you know the student's name, what assignment was missing, and then it'll have all of this information on there. So the due date, if you have that unlock or locking date, basically the available from and until date, it'll also show up on here as well. And it's important to know that late assignments are going to be those that students turn in after the due date, but have been graded or have been submitted. The next thing is going to be excused assignments. So if you excuse any students from an assignment, you can do that inside of Gradebook, but this will allow you to produce a list to see all of the assignments that you have excused along with the student's name as well as the specific assignment. Course roster, this one is really great because this gives you the students' names, their email, as well as some other information like the section name or the student ID. I use this report specifically to help me when I was making breakout rooms for Zoom, as well as making groups, because I had that student's information here to easily separate them out and import into either Zoom to pre-assigned breakout rooms, or in our grouping function, there's also the ability for you to upload groups as well. And the last one is going to be course activity. So this is going to show you essentially that weekly online activity report in CSV format. You get to choose the date range, and the date range can be up to 14 days in the past. So this is something that if you wanted to look about 2 weeks back to see how students were moving through and interacting with course content in your Canvas courses. Okay. So I'm just going to pause and take a moment just to see, are there any questions, or is there anything missing maybe that you're looking for that I didn't show in New Analytics?
Not like everything is good. I don't know if I missed or the date ranges available only for the last item that you show for the course activity.
Mm-hmm.
So for the rest, For the rest, we cannot go by the like for weekly online activity or for like anything else. Can we, do you have the option of choosing a certain date or no? That's not an
Yeah,
option.
so on the weekly online activity, it already breaks it up by week for you. So
Mhm.
this is as granular, I would say, that you can get.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Thanks.
I see a couple things in the chat. Is there a table view or report of discussion board participation by students, such as seeing the number of threads started by replies? So you can look by specific resource. So if you wanted to look by just discussions, you can see that. Now, it's not going to be super granular where it's going to tell you, it will just tell you participations, basically when students have submitted to it. It's not going to be as granular to show you participations by the individual student from this view, unless you go to like the student's kind of individual page. Then you could look at their participations to see exactly if they contributed to a discussion, but it would just say once or twice if they've responded. It won't show you like threaded replies or anything like that. You would rely still on SpeedGrader to see something like that. Can you, of course, you're welcome. Can you print a course roster? You can download it, but it's going to come out as a CSV. There's not like a PDF version to print from New Analytics. Awesome. Any other questions? All right. Now let's take a look at a couple different things also that you can take a look at. So this is, I'm going to navigate out of New Analytics. If you have questions about New Analytics, we can come back to those in just a moment. So I'm going to go into settings. And I'm going to click on course statistics. And this gives you a glimpse into which assignments, quizzes, and discussions students are engaging with. And so here, the first tab, you'll see the total number of discussions, assignments, active students, and quizzes inside of your course. So I can see that there's 19 discussions total. We've had 10 posts. I can see my number of assignments as well as rubrics, how many active students I have. So this kind of gives you a high-level overview of those different activities inside of your course. If you click on the assignments tab, this is going to give you information about what type of submissions you're mostly using. So if you allow choices for your students, like let's just say when you create an assignment, you allow them to determine if they want to use text entry versus file upload or media recording, this will give you a little bit of a snapshot in there to see the number of submissions that are actually choosing these different submission types. So if that was something that you were curious about, that is showing here. Students, this is just going to give you information about the most recently logged in students, give you a date and time stamp to show you that. And this last thing is file storage. So file storage will show you the number, the amount of allotted storage for your course, the number of unique, uploaded files versus kind of media files in your course. So this gives you insight into kind of your course storage. Another tool that you can use if you want more information about how about your students and how they're accessing your course is if you go into the People tab. And this is going to be something you do on an individual basis for students. Sure, Gail. Okay, Gail's question was how to get to course statistics. So go to settings. And then it should be the top option on the right-hand side. You're welcome. So I'm going to navigate back to the People tab. And so I'm going to show you a report that I really like. I'm going to just choose a student really quickly. I'm going to click on her name twice. And this is going to get me to what's called her access report page. And so on the right-hand side, you'll see this option where it says access report. And so this is very similar to that view of weekly online activity, where it showed you the participation and all of that. This is another way that you can get to that information. So go to the People tab, click on that student's name, and then you can see exactly what was the content, how many times have they viewed it, and when was the last time they had any type of participation with that particular item, if it's, you know, like an assignment, a quiz, or a discussion. And I like this because this logs like every single time a student like logs into your course, what they're clicking on. So if you want to get more granular into students who maybe aren't doing that well, you can see this information here. I've also definitely used this when students send me emails saying, oh, I can't find this. That's why I didn't turn it in, just to see what are they doing when they get in. This is kind of more like I would say like a user log, if you will, inside of your Canvas course to give you insight into that information. And then back on the user page, it just also gives you a link directly to their new analytics. So if you want to get to that new analytics page for that student, you can click here and get there as well. Awesome. The last thing I want to show you is just a couple of options of reports that you can pull from quizzes. But before I do that, I just want to see, does anyone have any questions, or I'd really like to know, what did you see that you are going to go and use? Like any of these reports in either course statistics, this access report, or anything in new analytics that you think you're going to go and take a look at inside of your course? Just let me know in the chat. All right. Well, think about it and think about what you want to take a look at, what information you'd like to know. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about is quiz reporting. Oh yeah, Kristen, I like that you can click on an individual student, see the analytics. I will use it to identify students who I need to follow up on. Yep, it's a great intervention piece. I find it so valuable to just kind of go look in that proactively instead of, you know, emails and messages at the end of the semester. You can kind of see what's going on ahead of time. Perfect. So when it comes to taking a look at reporting inside of Canvas, we have a report. And if you were in the session yesterday with the new quizzes and classic quizzes, or earlier this week, then you may have seen this, but I want to just cover this for those who were not there. So if you go to quizzes, you can pull a report from quizzes that have already been kind of submitted by your students. So if you want to go back and take a look at quizzes that have been submitted, you can do that. So I'm going to click on the name, and then I'm going to choose quiz statistics. And so on this page, you'll get to see a couple different things. You'll get to see the average score, what was the highest versus the lowest score, the average time it took. And so we'll plot this all here on a graph. It will also give you some information down here about the different questions, and basically let you know the percentage of students that chose the correct answer. And then it also breaks it down of the percentage of students who chose, you know, the other answer choices. So it gives you a good snapshot into overall how students did on the quiz, as well as gives you more granular information at the question level, so that you can go back and maybe take a look at your questions to see if a lot of students were choosing the incorrect answer. Maybe it needs to be reworded, or maybe your answer choices need to be changed. There's a number of ways that you can use that information, but I do find it very valuable. Yes, I see, Claire, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, so in one class, I went on the course statistics, and it gave me all of this really good information. I was able to identify some problematic questions where students had difficulty. So that was great. But in another class, when I clicked on course statistics, it says even awesomeness has limits. We can't render statistics for this quiz, but you can download the reports. So I was just wondering if you had any information as to why one class I'm able to do it and another class I'm not. And so that other class, it's new exam questions as well. So I kind of wanted to use that to get rid of questions that were not written well.
Gotcha. That sounds like something that should be a support ticket. I have not seen that before, to be quite honest. Does it have, so up here, these two things allow you to generate, this one would be more if you wanted to see the questions. So were you able to click this and generate a report?
So I'm going on it right now, and when I click on, so I see quiz statistics, I click on there, and then a panda comes up.
Right.
And that's when I get that message. And then underneath it has student analysis, and then next to it has item analysis. But it doesn't break it down like per question, as I would see it in the report.
Here. Yeah, I would put in a support ticket because that,
Okay.
and this was a quiz that they took inside of Canvas.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I would send in a support ticket. If a panda comes up, it's probably an error or bug. Yes,
Okay, thank you.
it's kind of like our 404. If you see a panda, it's probably, some type of an error.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions or information that you're all looking for with quizzes? But if you click on these two here, it should generate, these two will generate a report that's a CSV, and you can look at them that way as well. All right, awesome. And then as far as message students view, I just want to show really quickly if you haven't seen it in the grade book. So if you go into grades, and let me just switch my view. Inside of your grade book, you also can use that message students who, if you haven't seen it before, next to each assignment, you'll get those 3 dots. And here you'll click message students who, and again, you'll get some different criteria, and you can send messages to your students in that way as well. So between new analytics, the user access report, and using message students who all around your Canvas course, you definitely can kind of help and see what students may need help, or reach out to them proactively if that's something that you want to do. If not, you can also encourage your students to, once you add in new analytics, to take a look at their own individual analytics and ask you some questions. If they have questions about, I'm not understanding this, or I'm missing things, have them go in and take a look at their analytics and make sure and verify that they're looking at all of the content that you've provided, and that they're actually making sure they're not ignoring due dates and things on calendars. It happens. Students go in sometimes and turn off their notifications, so they will miss things because maybe they have the mobile app and they turn off the desktop notifications, and sometimes you may miss things because of that. So I would encourage you to go into your course, take a look at all of these different options, as well as give your students some of that responsibility as well, to take a look and understand their own kind of journey with your course content as well. Right. Perfect. So that is our session today on course data. So I'm going to stick around just to see, are there any questions, anything else that I can show you again? I'm happy to assist in any way, since this was pretty quick. I think it's pretty straightforward, but if you have to go, then feel free to go and have a great weekend. And if you have questions, then please stick around and I'm happy to answer those for you. You're welcome.
Sure.
Yes, of course. Okay, Kristen. Of course, yeah, you're welcome. Kristen, do I have a course evaluation?
Yeah, I was just wondering, usually after I've taken these, you want us to give feedback. You didn't have that with this one probably.
Not on this one, but we'll
Oh,
put it
okay.
with all of the recordings. We'll put something there for you guys to provide feedback to.
There you go. That sounds good. I just thought I would throw that in there just in case you might have forgotten to mention it.
No worries. Thank you.
Oh,
For
okay. Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And then Gail, I see you have your hand raised.
Yes, this is a great presentation. I feel much more comfortable with the analytics and how I can use them. And I've already started looking at my courses. This is not really about the analytics, and I don't know if you can answer it, but I thought I would ask. I feel that I am not navigating very well, and this is the situation. A student will come to me during office hours to want to review an assignment that I've already returned to them. And so when I'm trying to pull up the assignment, I end up going into the course, going to assignments, clicking on speed grader, then scrolling for their name. Is there a better way to find the assignment that doesn't take so many steps?
So does your gradebook view look like this, where you have the search up here? When you click
Yes,
on
but then when I click on this, oh, I didn't think about that.
Mhm.
I do have that view. And when I look at the grade book, I've got search students. And so if I were to do that and then I click on, so yeah, that's what happens. I did try that, but what I get then is like a summary of their grades and what they've turned in.
Not the actual assignment.
Not the actual assignment. And so I can see the scores for each grade.
Gotcha. I would search just by the assignment name, because then the students' names are alphabetical, but you're right. It's basically the flow that you described is
Okay.
to go into gradebook and then go into speed grader, so you could see that student's individual submission.
Okay. All right. I just thought I would ask, since you seem to be so knowledgeable, in case I was missing something that would speed things up. Not that it's that long, but.
No, yeah, but it is a couple steps. Nope, you're not missing anything. You're doing it right.
Okay.
You can also
All right.
have the student pull it up themselves, but I guess they're coming to your office. They could.
Yes. Yeah, they and usually I like to control it, because then I can point out the things that I wanted them to notice.
Absolutely, yeah. Then the way you're doing it is the easiest way
Yeah.
to get to their actual submission with your comments. Yeah, in speed grader.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. It's been a very informative session. I appreciate all your knowledge.
Thank you, and you're welcome.
Alrighty. Bye.
Great. All right, do we have any other final questions that I can answer? You're welcome. All right, everyone. If there's no additional questions, and I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend, and I'm gonna close us out. Bye. You're welcome.